Hi everybody, I want to give you some tips. This is lesson 2, Region 225. Now this is your second week in the course, and I just wanted to give you a little bit of a heads up on how to do really well in the class. I really hope everybody gets an A, and so I'll do everything I can to help you get that. At the same time, it means everybody's got to put the effort in. And so if you put the effort in and you work hard and do your very best, I'll do my very best to try and help you. Number 2, this course is not my design. You can't offend me by ripping on the way the course is designed or giving positive feedback. That's probably a better way to go about it, about maybe things that ought to be improved, and I'll do my best to pass those along. So I kind of see myself, especially in the first couple of weeks, as a facilitator to help you navigate through what the course designers have very carefully put together. I think the intent is good. I think what we're going to try and learn and the focus of the course will be very beneficial, but the first couple of weeks are just a little bit tough, and there's always a few bugs in the course to try and work out. So with that in mind, you need to watch this webcast. I'll have one every week. They'll come out usually Saturday or Friday of the start of the before the week starts of the next week's activities or lesson, and I'll try and keep them short. I try to keep them 5 or 6 minutes. This one's going to be a little bit longer today because it is the beginning of the course, but you need to watch this video and screencast to do well. If not, you'll get docked pretty heavily because I've given the tool to have you do well in the course, and apparently we always have a few students. They're rare, but they go a couple weeks and they're aggravated because they didn't get what they thought for scores, and all they need to do is watch this little webcast and know what I expect, because I think that's one of the hardest things in college classes is to understand what your teacher is expecting and then do it rather than to be surprised and get a way big deduction. So here's what we would do. Click on the lesson. I hope you're all figured out how to navigate your way through this. Click on the lesson overview tab. I enjoy reading the questions and conversations tab as well. If you have questions in there, use that or send me an email. I'll do my best to keep checking those as quick as I can. And so click on this lesson overview tab, and then you have this whole thing open up to you. This is pretty simple to see what to do. If I were going to do a lesson, if I was a student in this class, I would read everything on this page. I would read it very slowly. I'd read it very carefully. Here are some truths and insights that you're going to learn in this assignment. These are some of the reasons why we're going to go through the material that they've outlined for you to study this week. So you'll want to study assignment number 1 and study assignment number 2. And then it'll give a learning goal focus. What were we going to spend our time on for the week? And I think that's pretty clear, and that's very nicely done. Then you want to click on each one of these. Now, here's a mistake. Not all of these are required readings. I'm going to post it in a separate announcement, but not everything here is required. Usually the first 4 or 5 are the required ones. The rest are optional. And so I'll send that out. They've got to make a fix in this course because it looks like you've got to read all of this. And then when you put this together, it looks like you've got even more. Some of these are talks and they're longer. I believe here these are required to Elder Holland, and then gospel topics from there on down are optional supplementary activities. So I hope that's making sense to you. Then I guess they put this in every time. If you're in a different time zone, which we have several students who are off this continent and on another, and so you want to kind of calculate your time so you don't get hung up on the due dates and the due times. Again, I try to hold students to that, but I am not a Pharisees about it. If you've got a problem, it's going to be late, send me an email. I'll work it out with you. Okay? But especially if it's not a pattern. If it's a pattern every time, then probably won't be near as lenient. Okay. Then you've got due date for activities 1. You've got for 1, 2, and 3. The trouble is they didn't tell you when they were due. It's hard to figure out what they're due. So I'll tell you this. This is connections, patterns, and themes. That's a new way to talk about how to post to a discussion board. But read these instructions. The big thing with this first post needs to be done by Tuesday night at 11 p.m. Idaho time. Let's just call it that. It's not said here, but it needs to be done. If you don't get it there, there'll be a severe deduction. There'll be about a third of this grade on this assignment will go away if you miss that due date, no matter how many other times you post. So you've got to make it a post, and this needs to be, if you read here about this instructions, they need to be 200 words, and that doesn't count any quotes. You also need to put a word count in it. If you miss the word count, there'll be a pretty good sized deduction. I can't tell how many words are in a post without copying it into some WordPress processor program to figure it out. And if I don't have a word count, I just assume it's low, and maybe a student's hoping that I won't notice, or they just forgot, and sometimes that happens. But there will be a deduction for not having a word count on this assignment. So this one right here, this first one's got to be this initial post, A, B, and C, or A, B, or C. These are some ways to get yourself started. Explanation of key events, something of personal relevance, or a message to share with the world, something, and I would title it that, and then put it in your post. Okay, and you should be well. It's simple. 200 words, get it done. Okay, assignment number 2. This is where you go back in and make it again. Another study. You can start a new thread here, or you can just respond, okay, to other students' conversations, or check back on your discussion thread to see how things are going. That needs to be done, and another post or two in here before Thursday night at 11. So you've got to respond. Okay. Then lesson 3 right here. This one would be a wrap-up session, and it happens at the end of the week. So that would be Saturday. Until they change it or tell us otherwise. But so we'll go with this one will be due date 1 will be for that one. Need to make your first post, initial post of 200 words by Tuesday night at 11. Due date 2 is Thursday at 11. Does not have to be 200 words, and no word count required here. And due date number 3 at the end shouldn't take that long. It's the only one you spend 15 minutes. Anyway, and so there's some. You can click on these points right here about how to get in here and get into the discussion boards, but these hyperlinks should work. Here is a summary paper. This is due on Saturday night at 11 p.m. Idaho time. So you can use these hyperlinks here to get a blank copy of the form. Here are the instructions, and this is how you upload your finished document. Okay, and I think all of this is working, crossing my fingers. The synthesis project, okay, right here, this is where you've got to pick a world issue, and then I will put you in a team. And there really isn't anything this first week with that. So you should be good to go on that assignment for this first week, because I haven't put you into a synthesis team to work on that. Okay, so that should be good. Now anyway, and there's some instructions here. So after I get the stuff collected, you work your way through these and explore this and get me your what your topic is. Get that all done from the first and second weeks, and we get everybody kind of loaded into the class. I'll put everybody in a specific group, and you'll probably stay with that group the whole term and work on those topics. Okay, but there's not much to do in that for the first few weeks, at least graded wise. So just work on it together with your team. Okay, and then there is a 30-minute end of the week report. Well, it's not 30 minutes. That's just they think it's going to take 30 minutes. But this Google Drive binder, yeah, most of you have done this in other classes, or at least some of you have. There's the instructions on how to create the binder in Google Drive, and then you submit your weekly report. And so you got these two things ready to go. And anyway, this is pretty simple. If you can get the first week down, the rest of the weeks, other than the synthesis, yeah, it's too late to talk about this. The team report will need to be, done later in those reports. But most of this is pretty much the same stuff every week. So I hope this helps. Now, you need to know that this is a brand new course. It's only been taught a couple of times by two people. There's 44 sections of it, I believe, in the BYU Idaho this term, and all of us are brand new. So we'll have patience with you, but you need to have patience with us as we learn it and figure it out and work our way through all of the problems of breaking in a brand new course. I think it's going to be great, but we'll work with you and make sure that you be able to do well. Send me an email. Um, if I don't respond to you, it might have got buried. Send me it again. But I try really hard to respond within 24 hours, and usually it's within just a few hours if I can, especially the first couple of days of the term. So I hope this all makes sense. If you have questions, let me know. I've turned on the check boxes. They taught me how to do that. I think a lot of students like to do that to know where they're at when they click on their course. And see where they've been, so they don't have to start over if you've got multiple courses. So, anyway, sorry for this being just a little bit longer the first week, but again, I want to make sure you do very, very well. So, to recap, a couple things that are big with me. Make sure that when you submit your work, that first post, it's got a word count. When you submit your weekly report, that's not so big a deal for a word count, um, but your summary paper needs a word count. There'll be a deduct for that. So, and it better not be just one big paragraph, or you'll be disappointed. So sorry. So it needs to be well done. College level work, and if you do that, you're going to do fine in this class, and you're going to learn about the gospel and about the fundamental principles that this church is founded on. So anyway, have a great week.